Welcome to the Public with Public situation room. We'll bring you live update concerning the protest going on the 1st of August 2024. And today with us, we have our in-house analyst, Mr. Gozie Kendricks, who will be giving us his insight and updates on the issues and grounds in the country. So, Mr. Gozie, you've been in town today, you've seen the fuel queues, so tell me, what do you think about it so far?
So from my ride in town today, trying to have an analysis and assessment on what's actually going on and, just feel the pulse in town, especially in the FCT, one can notice very long queues. Most filling stations are not actually dispensing the product, and there are very long queues at filling stations that are dispensing the product. So I now had to go around and ask, okay, what's going on? And the information I was able to gather was a unanimous information that stipulated that the marketers, of course, the marketers are not robots. They are people like you and I who are business people. And what the business people do in every business season, they assess the situation and they feel that if I send out my products or my tanks from Lagos, someone protesting before maybe the 1st or 2nd, it might be arriving a destination like Kebbi or Bayelsa, and by that time the protest has already started. So people do not want their products to be hijacked. To be hijacked by protesters. And whether we say the protest will be peaceful or the protest will not be peaceful, nobody wants to gamble with his money on that. And if this is happening with the PMS, you can now imagine what's actually going on with food. So invariably, within the next coming days, there will be scarcity. I'm projecting a scarcity of food because if I am, for instance, Dangote, who supplies maybe the spaghetti, I'm not going to want my truck to be on the road. So I was talking to some of my friends who are in business who do not even do with perishable goods, and they are suspending operations from Tuesday. Anything that doesn't leave their warehouse by Monday evening, it's not leaving their warehouse till Tuesday because they don't want their vehicles to be stuck on the road, and they do not also want to make losses in this season. And of course the economy is really tough for everybody, so nobody wants to make extra loss. So this is one of the situations we've seen in town today. From
your own perspective, do you think that this scarcity would in any way affect the coming protest?
I feel that now the government, of course, is not responsible directly for the scarcity because I passed some NNPC filling stations and they were dispensing, but the queue was actually very very long. Now the thing here now is that it depends on how government manages this protest. If we bombard people and people feel that, now if the common man feels that there is a deliberate attempt by government to forestall movements, people trekked from different places during the last protest in 2020. I'm not sure, I saw people trekking from Central Business District to Airport Road. People trekked from different places, and I'm very certain that people would go on that long walk of freedom.
Exactly, that's quite true. Well, we've seen a lot of things go down during this protest. It's not yet here, it's coming. So we've seen the issue of the military presence at the Eagle Square. So what do you think about this? What was your take on this particular incident?
Well, the thing here is that I was listening to my very senior colleague, Ruben Abati, on Arise, and he said it's not about a Tinubu affair. The thing here is that no responsible government would fold its arms and allow a breakdown of law and order. But if we look at it, there are advantages to having military presence on ground, and there are disadvantages. Let's look at the advantages. What it does is that it deters, the show of force by the military deters protesters from actually going out to, not necessarily to protest. If I was a protester and I was angry at the government and I was protesting, the presence of the military would put a check in my behavior. I would not go out vandalizing properties and everything like that, or government infrastructure. But this is the disadvantage. It is undermining the Nigerian police force. We cannot throw our military on the streets always when there is the slightest issue. The military is overstretched. The military is facing banditry in the northeast. The military in the northwest. The military is fighting terrorism in the northeast. The military is fighting also the insurgency in the southeast. So by the time you keep on pulling the military, before you know it, people lack respect for the military. And inevitably, it takes a very, very young, courageous person to plant a military coup. If you keep on putting the military at any given instances, You don't know the encouragement. You're giving also the rank and file of the Nigerian army to actually perpetrate a protest, a coup. And a coup has happened in just right here in Niger, in Chad also, and in different parts of Africa. We have some parts, some countries in ECOWAS that have pulled out because of military coups that have taken place. They pulled out from ECOWAS because of military coup, and one of them is Guinea. So these are some of the things we need to look at and also see how we can actually assuage it. Secondly, it speaks bad of the democratic process. Protest is a fundamental human right. Peaceful protest is a fundamental human right. When you throw the military on ground, it just undermines this. This is not a military dictatorship. We're in a democratic dispensation. So I think the military also should, behave themselves as well as the protesters. They should also behave themselves and ensure decorum, basically, at the end of the day.
Still on this case of the military, we've seen them come out and make comments like Nigeria should not engage in this protest and make it like the one of Kenya. And there's even been the FCT minister who has on several occasions come out as well to make comments telling Nigeria that they should not come out to protest on that day. And even things like do not use the Eagle Square for your protest and all. Isn't this going to come up as some sort of intimidation to the people?
Well, we're in a developing country and some of all these things are expected, even if they are not supposed to be. Basically, this is blatant intimidation. People have the right to protest constitutionally as long as they follow the laid down rules. I've seen a letter by a protest group that said, in fact, we just want to be in the Eagle Square. We don't want to be on the street. We want to be in the Eagle Square. The protection that is given to protesters that are currently protesting now should also be given to the protesters that also want to protest against bad governance. That's just basically it. So I feel the military and the government of the day should not intimidate people. What sparked the NSAS protest to metamorphose into something that actually ended up becoming very big? It was simply because when protesters were protesting, the police officers especially, were shooting tear gas at the NSAS protesters. We saw people shooting tear gas. We saw people getting shot. Yeah. There was a young boy that was just standing and he got shot by stray bullets. Now, these angered people, we are protesting against police brutality, and you're still brutalizing us. So if we're protesting against bad governance, and you're still bringing out a whole lot of policies or antics that still promotes the culture of bad governance, it could actually touch the nerves of Nigerian in a very wrong way.
Very true. Still on the line of intimidation, we have gotten reports of police arresting touts and even residents here in the FCD and paying them at 10,500.
Yes, I was actually on the field and I've been going through Abuja trying to collect reports, security reports and everything like that. And one of the things that kept on resonating is that there has been consistent raids by the men of the Nigerian police force. And these allegations are alleging that, especially people who have been victims of this, are some those touts that try to load beggar would say and everything like that. Many of them have been bundled up because naturally, I do not see anything literally wrong with that, right? What I see wrong with it is basically the bail that the allegations have come up that the people that were arrested last night, which was Sunday night, had to pay a bail of 10,500 naira. And bail is free, and there's freedom of movement. I'm not sure any of those boys did anything wrong. Yeah. But the security architecture of every state, also as a security analyst, they have the responsibility to keep everybody safe. And when a protest starts, who are the people likely to hijack the protest? It's actually the boys sitting on the street not doing anything. Okay. So what I felt that the police should have done was, we have also gotten security gigs and contracts where people want to move into a place, but they need the place to be mopped up. So mop-up operations can actually be done. And if those people are profiled and, they are not with any weapons and anything, stern instructions can be given to those people. Stay out of this place. If we catch you here, you're going to be in trouble, basically. But this is what is going on in Abuja. So it's a warning to everybody. If you don't have any business outside in the night, stay at home.
Will not be there. Well, still on the issue of the protest, we have heard that the police came out today to say that if you're going to be part of the protest, you have a curfew to 4 p.m. to be done with your protest and be out of the streets.
Yeah, you see, at the end of the day, it's not supposed to really be. I remember the protest in 2012. where people were so free to do whatever they wanted to do. It was one of the most peaceful protests that shut the country down for 2 weeks in this country. And one of the issues that I feel the police are trying to take steps to mitigate some of all these things is simply because of the NSAS protest. And when I was talking on the space over the weekend, I said the protesters also have to do things differently. During the NSAS protest, protesters literally blocked, let us not forget, protesters literally blocked both lanes of vehicular movement, thereby obstructing vehicular movement.
Yeah.
Totally. I was around during the NSAS, and we had to start looking for alternative routes. People who had medical emergencies, people who had airports and flights to actually catch up with at the airports, missed their flights. And some of all these things happen. Let us not behave as if this did not happen in this country.
Yeah.
It happened. So if you are a protester, I've always said, let a lane be free. The truth of the matter is that the same way you have the right to protest, someone has the right not to protest. And your freedom must not infringe on the freedom of the person that he doesn't want to be part of the protest. He's doing his business, he might be working for the government, he's earning well, or he literally is concerned about what the government is, about the economy of the day, but really literally doesn't feel that protest is going to, bear forth any good fruits. So you must allow that person to go to work. You must allow that person to go to come back from work. You must allow that person to actually, if he has a flight, go and catch up with his business of the day. So I feel it's a very good, initiative from the FCT Police Command. And what it simply means is that you can come out in the morning, protest, 4 o'clock, go back home.
Okay.
Come out the next day, protest. What I would be totally against is when you totally stop protesters from protesting. But if you put a curfew, 4 p.m., go home, fine and good.
Okay, so what do you think about the military mountain roadblock over the city of Ikoyi?
Like we suspected this, based on the
and
intelligence
this is causing
report.
traffic.
Yes, I suspected it. I was reaching out to some of the people staying at Nyanya Axis, thereabouts in Abuja, and I was telling them that there are certain things that there are rumors that something wants to happen in Abuja, and the military will come and just put a roadblock there and just. So I feel at the end of the day, like I told you, no responsible government will fold their hands and allow protesters to go on. I knew that from this week, Monday, the access into the Federal Capital Territory would be very difficult. Police and the military will try to set up, security architecture to frustrate movement, but it's not supposed to be so. There's a freedom of movement enshrined in Section 37 as a constitutional right and a fundamental human right of Nigerians. And I simply feel that, the military mountain roadblock would simply go in a way to agitate protesters. If I'm coming from Niger State or I'm coming from Nasarawa State to protest in Abuja, and I feel because Abuja is the seat of power, and I'm coming from and you frustrate me, you make me carry my bag.
You could get violent.
I'm not saying it to get violent. You are giving people motivation to be angry. That's just what I feel. If I pick my bag from Nyanya and walk all the way from Nyanya down to Eagle School or anything, I'm not sure if tear gas is going to stop me. Because I'll tell you that if the military cannot stop me, your police tear gas cannot also stop me. And that's where the bedrock of problem will actually come from.
Well, there's been an incident over the weekend where it's been said that MTN barred the line of their customers and they couldn't make their normal transactions and activities. So now, as of today, people went to the MTN office angry and agitating, and they've caused so much havoc. There's been vandalism of properties there. So do you think that this protest will actually be peaceful with this kind of act?
So I think the allegation going around MTN is that MTN is conniving. It's an allegation. They are conniving and colluding with authorities in place because, of course, it's the biggest telecommunications network in the country. And what they want to do is to keep people busy. By the time you lose your MTN line, you don't have access to the internet again, and you need to go and sort it out. Now, people are asking of all times to actually...
Why now?
Why now?
Yes.
My line, maybe if you claim that my line has not been properly registered from January, why some days to the protest? And as simple as that, but we'll still call on people. Destroying MTN property shows you how angry people are. And people, that's why I said if the military roadblock, we should not set things in place. The government especially should not set modalities in place that would really agitate people, just like this. So simple like call for calm, MTN should be able to know how to. I think one of their biggest rivals, Airtel, there's a way to actually do it online with your phone. You can link your NIN or anything like that. I don't know if MTN has that capability, but they should look for ways to make it easy for people so that people can actually go about their daily activities without being stuck at the MTN office. So just imagine if this thing continues and you have a stockpile of people who their lines were blocked by MTN. They've been there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and God forbid other networks follow suit. And maybe on Wednesday, I'm suspecting that there might be, I do know, I cannot authoritatively confirm this, but I'm suspecting that there might be a clamp down on the internet access in the country, because if people can't get information, but if all these things happen and build up, people will really, really be angry, and this peaceful protest that everybody's planning for might not end up being peaceful. So everybody just has to play a very important role to ensure that this is a normal exercise and people come out and protest and go back home.
Okay, well, finally, there's been the whole protesting against the protests. People coming out in the streets in masses, women groups and all that in different parts of the state, in the country, coming out and saying no to protest. We've seen that in Lagos and all that. So do you think that is the right approach now to stop this protest?
I think it's beautiful. I think that's the beauty of democracy.
Okay.
The fact that you like Eba doesn't mean that I should like Eba. I would like pounded yam. So the fact that you want to go to protest doesn't mean that everybody wants to go to protest. Some people lost millions of naira during the NSAS protest. If I was a business person that lost money, right, I would do everything to ensure that nobody protests in my streets. Again, I would pay the police, I would do anything possible, because imagine you have a warehouse where people are really hungry. You would not want the protest to happen, because at the end of the day, it's not your fault that things are bad, but your business properties and your assets would be a target for hoodlums and unscrupulous elements. So people have the right, and that's the beauty of democracy. You want to protest, we don't want to protest. This is the only thing. The way the police has been able to say, we are going to protect these people saying no to protest. Let's have the same security architecture, protect people that will come out and say, we want to protest. It's as simple as that. What is good for the goose is good for the gander. So let's just do it like that, and let's just enjoy the beauty of democracy and move ahead.
Well, we do hope that the protest is as peaceful as possible. And Mr. Gozie Kendrick, has been nice having you here in our Situation Room.
Thank you.
We hope to have you some other time again to give us your insight. So there you have it, people. We at the Public Republic have brought to you some updates on the protest and how it's going to be like when it comes on the 1st of August 2024. Don't forget to stay tuned, follow all our social media accounts, and like, comment, and subscribe to all our pages. Thank you so much.